Hello, friends. How are you doing? And welcome to the episode 2 for the Art of Mindfulness with Nita Karkanis. This episode is a continuation of what we had in the last episode, where we spoke to Nitaji regarding her journey towards mindfulness and as a soul alignment coach. We had a wonderful discussion in the last. If you have missed it, definitely go to the link below in the YouTube or find in the YouTube channel The Art of Mindfulness by Nita Karkanis in the Amazing Life YouTube channel. So let's go with, we have very interesting questions that we are going to ask Nitaji, and Nitaji is going to teach us about various things in the mystic world of soul connection. So let's not wait much and let's start with Netaji. Netaji, let's start with the last thing that you talked about in the last episode. I was very excited to hear, but we had lesser time. But I want to know actually about the soul tribes. I want to know about soul connections and who are these soul tribes and how can I find my soul tribe,
Uh,
Netaji?
I think you have found your soul tribe on the Amazing Life Facebook page, where I saw you interacting with so many people, and they are so when you have the same agenda, or like you want to do the same things. I think that's your soul tribe. So I think you are on that track of finding it. And there's something else I would like to clarify, which I think we missed in the first episode, where people called me later and asked me as to why didn't you tell us about um, more about the soul tribe. So if a soul tribe is not necessarily only strangers in our life. Your family members, eventually, if they are also on that path of ascension, or by ascension I mean that you go higher in your frequency, because why do we not have the people in our life, like our relatives or families, they are our soul karmic soulmates, but why don't they become a soul tribe? Because when we go higher in our frequency and that person doesn't rise to that level, that's when they really can't connect with us. And even if we are close friends, they don't become a soul tribe. But if you're lucky enough, yes, you could have your children, or you could have your child, or you could have your partner become your soul tribe, and that's a very um, fantastic thing, okay, to have someone you already love becoming part of your soul tribe.
So, do this soul tribe exist uh, around you, or they choose you, or you choose them? How do you get connected to them? I
um,
mean, the question: how do you understand that you have? I mean, and the most important part is within the journey, many people do not know about it, right? So my next question would be: if you have your soul tribe, how it is going to uplift your existing life, and how it's going to benefit your existing life? How it is more important to find a soul tribe, and the other thing is that how it benefits your existing life.
Well, we have given this name as a soul tribe today. It's because we have this. As I mean, I would always say that as human beings, we have this habit of we have this desire and the need within us to slot people. Ki, this is good, he's bad, she's beautiful, or she's awesome, and he's an idiot, or something like that. So the soul tribe is also just a word that we're using today to people that we can can connect with, where we are not judged at all, where we can say what we are on the same plane, we are doing the same things, but maybe we're doing different modalities, but our goal is the same, to rise higher in our frequency. So uh, so it's just a tag that we're given today. So I though I don't believe in in tagging any kind of a relationship or any interaction. But yeah, the soul tribe is something that you can say they're different from all the other karmic soulmates that we have. So when we speak of soulmates, most of the time people think that soulmates are romantic. They're not necessarily romantic. Every person that you interact with and stays in your life is a soulmate. So a soulmate is somebody who is helping your soul advance to to reach the goal that you have come on this planet to do. So when we are born as a soul, we I mean, as a human being on this planet Earth, when the soul is born on this planet Earth, we are not just meant to eat, sleep, wake up, party, have fun, um, um, have relationships, have physical intimacy with people. That's not just the goal. Yes, that could be part of it, because it enhances the experience to have like a good meal, or to have to see a sunshine and a sunset with somebody. Yes, it enhances our existence, but we have not come on earth to just do that. So there's a bigger picture why a soul is born on earth, and that is actually to elevate um, the frequency of this planet. And how do you do that? By elevating your own frequency. And yes, you have soulmates, which we call karmic lessons, because all of them come into your life to teach you something. So it's like, if you just imagine that life is a stage, and we all have chosen a part in it. Like somebody has chosen the mother's part, and somebody has chosen the father's part, and somebody has so they are the soul family. I mean, supposedly that we have labeled them as soul family today. So somebody has chosen the part of a friend or a child or a husband, and we are interacting, and they're teaching us to evolve in maybe a good way or a bad way. So no, I think an enemy also that we label them as an enemy has also come on earth with that plan that I'm going to teach this woman Nita, or this man Manash, to get, maybe to learn, because it's all part of learning. You learn strength, you learn to have boundaries, you learn to have unconditional love. There's so many things to learn, so many virtues to learn, so many attributes to learn, and each one has come into our life to teach us that, and nothing else. But when their frequency in this doesn't um, rise up to yours, because I'm sure by now you will be accepting that not everyone is on the same frequency. Why do why do some people keep asking questions as to what is happening, how do I better myself, and how do I better the planet, how do I better a community, how do I form a community, how do I help humanity? So everyone doesn't think like that. So people who are on the same page are the ones who are your soul tribe, and they have evolved over there. But it doesn't mean that the soul mates that we have, like the karmic soul mates, like the relations that we have in our lives, are any less important. No, they're not. I mean, they're teaching you to be what you are. I mean, if you ask me that what did my childhood teach me, maybe my soul needed to learn that as in the worst possible way, in the most hardest way, to be strong, to have courage, to give priority to myself, to probably love unconditionally, to love unconditionally that somebody's harming you, and yet your love doesn't stop. So
I
each
think
thing, yeah.
yes. So the other thing is that what came into my mind is what I learned is, uh, I mean, your connections may not be for lifetime. Some people come for uh, or for a particular period of time to they have some kind of role in your life. I mean,
Yes.
and with this, I would like to address another thing because when we talk about soul, when we talk about mysticism, uh, so we come into with many definitions of soul, type of soul connections. So would we please can you please talk about a bit about soul connection? Then I will come to the next question.
So every connection, every interaction in your life is a soul connection. Even the person that you meet, I mean, even the person that comes, your watchman, your security man is a soul connection. The driver you have who's driving you to work or is a soul connection. So there are no coincidences in life. There is something that we need to learn, we need to teach, and that's all that there is to life. I mean, it might seem very boring and like not so exciting, the way to live your life. Or we're only learning, or we're only teaching, but that is all it is. I mean, that interaction could be because maybe the driver needed to hear something, like maybe I needed to give him a lecture. I mean, I'm just giving an hypothetical example, that how can you do this and how can you should have more patience, or you should have this. And he says, yes, yes, ma'am, I need to do this. Yeah, I shall do this. I don't have patience at home. I will do this. And maybe after that, he just leaves my job and he goes away. So it's just that interaction was meant to happen as a soul connect, for me to teach him something and for me to learn something from him. So every interaction in life, it doesn't have to be like a like a really main relationship in our life, like a mother, father, sibling, or child or best friend, as a soul connect. No, every interaction in our life is a soul connect. That was, we have to learn things from them and we have to teach them something. There's nothing more to it.
So one
So
thing that
boring.
it's so amazing actually. Other thing that comes into my mind is when we talk about soul connection, and if we, I have read a book on Many Life, Many Masters by Brian Weiss
Yes.
some time back,
Yes.
and it was really a very eye opener to me. That was the first time that I
Yeah.
heard about soul connections. And
Yeah.
viewers, you should also read that book. Actually, that is a wonderful book,
Yes.
the one of
I've
best-selling
read
book.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing is that there are a lot of people who are undergoing pain in their life state, right?
Okay.
They might not be knowing what the emotional or the physical pain is all about throughout the journey. Even though they are successful in their career, they have everything in their life, they have achieved it, but still uh, there is something that they are looking for, and that is, I think, the incomplete or transcendence in the journey of soul. I think that thus the connections of soul is related to the pain in our journey of life. Does it relieves us from the pain? uh, can you please highlight it, how it is?
Yeah, as I said, that every interaction is a soul connect. Yeah, every interaction with a good, bad, ugly person, and pretty good, bad, ugly person is an soul interaction. Either we learning something or we're teaching them something. So, and if you are emotionally and mentally balanced, you will never have a physical ailment. Yeah, we are humans, we are mortals, and we will die eventually. Like you might be the most healthiest human being, and you would have I mean, how are you going to die? So so there'll be a reason to die. But what we are in our emotions and in our mental state, like we speak of four bodies, we speak of the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual bodies. So the mental and emotional bodies of ours is what causes us to have physical ailments. So when you sort those two out, you will never have a physical ailment. And the more strong you get spiritually, you will also actually have a much more healthier body. So when we speak of why do we go through the pain and why do we go through um, so there's no good or bad, there's no good soul or a bad soul. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with
so
you.
a soul is so a soul is born for a purpose, but somewhere, as you know, that not all of us, I mean, I would say majority of us do not retain what has happened in the what's happened in a past life. So you're born, and it's like you forget everything. But sometimes you do have some people who are more born as an evolved soul, do have that um, what do you say, attribute in them, that they do remember that I think I should be doing it like this, or I should be doing this like this. So when you're born as a soul, you actually come to learn those other things that you had not learned in your earlier lifetimes. But you also come with the pains that were there to release those pains. But we forget all about it, and then you get so caught up in the circles of life that 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 is left aside, the agenda for what you were born, and you're doing something else.
One
And
question which is coming to me, Nitaji, I just interrupt you over here. It's a very interesting thing that in my life journey, I have seen I myself is a past life regression therapist and
yes, yes,
in hypnosis. So many of our today's life pain or disease or anything which is going with us is related to the past life, and
yes,
whether in this life or in that
could be, yeah.
earlier life. So it is the soul that brings up the karma, or the soul that brings up the pain to this life, and whatever happens today in your life, and the solution is exactly you can get, like, the fear or anxiety that you have. Like, I am having problems with my throat, I cannot speak well, I'm having problems with my uh, walking, you know I mean, some of the therapeutic things or emotional things are, or physical ailments that we have, are they connected to something with the soul journey, and can it be rectified? Can you please highlight on that as a soul coach?
Yeah, it can be rectified. Why not? I mean, um, we have. I mean, as a human being, we are the most evolved living animal, the most evolved. I mean, you do have the other species, which is like the whales and the dolphins and yeah, and the gorillas, or whatever those animals that show such um, elevated attributes to themselves. But still, they have just remained there. But human beings, I mean, they are. I mean, I have nothing against them. I love them all. But look at human being. I mean, we have evolved so much, and we have evolved to be from that snow age or the caveman age to where we are, and we still, and we are evolving. So for us, it is, if we just decide and accept that yes, I do have an issue here, I do have a problem, and how do I sort it out? So as you said that yes, in PLR you do realize that you had these issues in life, and you take a rebirth, because how much are you going to live? 100 years after that, if you've not sorted out your issues, you are going to die as a human being, and you're going to take another birth to sort it out, right? So when you come into the next lifetime, initially the soul does know, oh, I have to do this. I have this list. I have to do A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh, I have 100 things that I need to do on this list. And then you're born, you're in a mother's womb, and you pick up her beliefs. and you pick up your beliefs, like, and then you're born, and then you're picking up beliefs of your parents, you're picking up beliefs of your elders, you're picking up beliefs of your teachers, you're picking up beliefs of your of all the people that you interact with. So I'm sure that you know that they say that till a child is 7 years old, you can actually train that child to do and be, think whatever you want that child to be. So in the growing years, when that soul has taken life to learn that big list that he or she has come with, gets involved with the circus of life, and you're picking up everybody's thought processes, beliefs, and this list just remains in, like, in a closet. And then when you actually become more, you realize that there's a pattern to your life, when where something wrong keeps happening, or you're just attracting those kind of people, and same issues are happening to your life. That's when we think about it, maybe when you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s, and then why is this happening to me? And then you start your quest, and then you ask maybe someone, or then you go and learn something, or you go for a seminar, or you go for a workshop, or you're hearing, like, they might hear a podcast like this, and they might get some answers. And so that's how then the quest starts. And it's never too late, because there's always divine timing. Maybe the person was meant to go through that. So every interaction, if we believe and we decide that it is to teach me something, so you need to have a sense of introspection within you. So if we just live like just like an animal, we'll never have it. But we live like a human, because humans are gifted with a thought process, with a free will. No one has tied us to a leash. So when you start questioning why are these things happening, what should I do about it, and what could be an answer to this, that's when your journey starts. And you have so many people today who can actually guide you. I'm not saying social media, because on social media everybody is an expert, whether how to do your house, how to do yoga, how to get the ex back, and how to marry. And so I'm not saying social media, but there are some fantastic people in this world, who can actually guide.
So one
So
thing that I would like you to address is working with souls, or connection of souls is nothing to do with tantras and mantras. These are, it's absolutely a mystical science. Can you please break that myth over here?
yes, yes, it is a complete, a science. I think tantra is also a science, and probably they do use souls who who probably they use souls to do things like that. So there's nothing to be scared of, because a soul, I mean, you yourself are a soul. Would you be scared of yourself? No, we wouldn't be scared of ourselves. So it has a soul alignment journey, has got nothing to do with tantra or mantras. Mantras work, of course. Mantras are like, today nowadays people are chanting switch words as against a mantra today. Yeah, so they're chanting like few like words, and they're doing for attaining something, for manifesting something. So, but it has nothing to do with tantra or mantra. It's about you, your person, the soul that is there within. What is it that the soul wants, and what is it that, how do you go ahead in life with peace and joy? I mean, we all have come in this world to learn from A to Z. I might be at F, you might be at G, someone else has reached M, and somebody else has reached Z. And so that is where the frequency and the differentiation of our energies um, um, divides us. We are not divided by our financial status, or our how much of jewelry we have, or how big my house is, or like what we earn, or how many cars we have. This is what we have told ourselves that this is what defines you. But what actually defines you is, as human beings, is like how how much you have evolved. And a human being is such a species that it can really evolve to the highest level. And you see it in the world today. Somebody who is so aware, who practices consciousness and lives in awareness, those people have moved mountains, and they are at and they're at peace with themselves. I'm not saying you need to be poor or you need to be like in like have nothing around, because that has nothing to do with spirituality. That is also a myth that we need to talk about.
Yes. So the question I would like you to answer is, what does soul alignment means to you as a coach? And it's a straight question. That means,
Yeah.
how does it connect to the art of mindfulness? So let's start
So so
the quest of it.
so soul alignment is that you balance your soul to 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 what you to your body, to your emotions, to your mental states, to your spiritualness. So you
Okay.
align that. So soul is not something that is outside of us. If you there are theories that some people say that the soul resists exists here, like the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, it's like somewhere behind, underneath here, so that's the soul. Somebody will say the soul is in the heart. Wherever the soul is, we are not here to question where the soul is in your body. So that's how they say that the highest self is actually your soul, because the highest self knows everything which you as a human being don't know. So if we connect to the soul or to the highest self of ourselves, you would have answers to everything. You wouldn't need to go to someone to say, open my third eye. I mean, I have people, I have I do mentoring to help people to open their third eye, but it doesn't happen. As a human being, all our third eyes are open. So when you connected to your highest self, you're connected to your soul, all the answers lie within us. You don't need to go out anywhere and to get answers. So when you align yourself to your being, and how does alignment happen? By peeling away all those subconscious beliefs or the false ideas that you have about yourself, about that things have to be done like this is good, that is bad. Like, we live with judgments. So you stop judging yourself and others, and you start connecting to actually the inner self. And mindfulness happens with it can happen. Yes, you can. To some people it's happened sitting under a people tree, and it's happened, they got mindfulness. Yeah. But it doesn't happen to everyone, right? So you do mental exercises, you do breath work, you do meditations, and you connect to your soul, to the inner self. You learn to calm your mind, and you need to calm your mind to actually uh, to connect to your soul.
So I think it is directly connected to the art of mindfulness, this alignment technique. And before I come to the next question to you, is I would like you to tell about who can benefit from these coachings. Are they specific people, individual, professional, students, age group, or uh, also for corporates? Does it suits when they have a very stressful life, or any people who are working, or any professionals? So, can you please give a light on soul coaching, because many of us may not be knowing about how it can help in
So,
increasing the productivity of life.
so this is we all have souls, right? If we accept that we are souls, then we all could then we could all help with do with some help with alignment of your own soul. So it's not restricted to a gender, or it's not restricted to what kind of work that you do, or it's not restricted to an age limit or anything. Anyone who feels that they're not aligned to their soul, who feels um, not so conscious in their own being, I think they could do with some help with aligning with their soul. So it's for everybody.
So now another question is, we talk about life coaching. We talk about
Yeah.
a lot of thing that goes in the life coaching. How does soul coaching is different from life coaching? And is there any kind of requirement to go to a soul coach rather than a life coach? Or let's say somebody has a problem, when he or she can actually figure out, do I need a life coach or a soul coach? So we want to know about what is the difference between the traditional life
Uh,
coaching and soul
I
coaching.
think that life coach also teaches you to, that's a more acceptable term today, because I think 20, 15 years ago we didn't have life coaches, right? So what do life coaches teach you? They teach you how to live and how to go ahead, and like you can do this, and this you can manifest, and we're going to help you manifest, and we're going to do this. That's what life coaching is all about, right? And I think I know of some people who actually um teach you meditations, and to teach you how to calm your mind and how to get the answers from within, and it's basically like a whole package. So yes, so soul coaching is also soul alignment. Rather, I don't coach your soul, I help you align your soul to yourself. So
Okay.
if you are going to be doing that, it's like, so you go in a way that you peel off yourself that what's stopping you from achieving things. So you must have seen that people say like one method, like law of attraction. I mean, we have so many people teaching you today. We read about it so much, that one person can do it, use the same tools, and he or she is able to achieve that. And the same tools someone else is using and is not, no, I mean, nothing happens. They can't manifest. Or you're manifesting 10 things in life, but two things you just can't manifest with the same method. So why is that? Because you have within you, we would like to call it the soul, because the body, it would not ever, like the thinking mind would not really say, I want these 10 things, but these two things, I want it, but I can't manifest it. Why? Because you have beliefs, your soul has beliefs that are working against it. So all you need to do is just address those beliefs, go to the root cause of the beliefs. It's like simple thing, like we are taught when we are children. I mean, in our country, and I think in any other third dimensional country also, like India, I feel is completely a third dimension country, though we have, like, we're almost a superpower today, but because we just don't care, we are in a survival mode. We relieve ourselves on the road, we break signals, we're not bothered about someone else, we are just in a survival mode. Ki, I have to reach that place, I couldn't give a damn whether the signal is red or it's green or I have to wait. um, Nothing like that, we are complete in a survival mode. Yeah, so in a country like this, you we just learn something. Yes, I want to manifest something, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest that. But we have beliefs which are been handed down to us, that money doesn't grow on trees, or that good money, you have to work hard to make good money, or money made in these ways is not good, it's tainted. These are our beliefs, and we will never ever make that big money, and then we wonder, how is that person making that money, how is that person getting that job, or how is that person going ahead in life? So what is he doing? It's a beliefs. So you might achieve something in your relationship, but when it comes to money, you might not achieve, because the soul believes, has taken on that belief, that this is how it is. And so unless you remove that belief, go to the root cause of it and remove that belief, He'll never be able to achieve it, how much ever life coaching you give them.
My question is about the next question I would like to address is I just lost the agenda because I was just looking for it. So the question that I want to ask next is, uh, you know, so I was talking about the soul, the soul coaching or the soul alignment is an inward journey actually. And when
Yes.
we talk about the life coaching, is mostly into the unification of mind, body, and soul. It's mostly into outward, I think, and coaching your life for an outward self, and coaching your life for the inward self is more into soul alignment. So I think it's more going inside rather than going outside. What do you say about uh, this particular thing that I am?
So I would say that it's not really so difficult to accept it. Though of course we are also uh, overwhelmed by the word soul. But don't we balance our homes like we're doing feng shui or we're doing vastu? That's to balance your living space, right? Your offices or your living spaces. I mean, we as Indians, don't we have that I should have, like my car should be, I just bought a car and I need to take it to a temple and to bless it or something like that. So if we can go and do these things in the outward things that we, or the external things that we have, then why cannot we also try to do the same for us internally and not get overwhelmed by this word called soul, because it's part of us. We are the soul. We are not this body. We are the soul. So so I think it should be easy to accept that yes, I do have I do have an issue, and I would like to balance my soul. I would like to align my soul. So if we can align our homes with good incense and like a candle here and a light here and change the furniture, we can align our own our soul and our bodies also. So it's just
Nitaji,
acceptance.
can you please walk us through a simple mindfulness practice or exercise that helps us to connect with that soul?
How to connect to the soul? Okay,
Uh,
so it's everything in life is an intention. Yeah, so like you intend that I want to go walk to the market and buy some fruits. So it's an intention. So your intention is that I need fruits and I need to go to the market to buy fruits. So what do you do? Then you get into your car or you call for a cab, or you walk to the market and you buy fruits. So everything starts with an intention in life. So the intention is that I want to align myself to my soul. So yes, there, like I have an exercise that says that you imagine a silver fire and a golden fire, and like you align your soul. But it doesn't happen just with that intention. You need to, as I said, it's like we are like onions. We need to peel it layer by layer by layer by layer to get to that essence of what we are. So how I do it is like I help people. We do a womb healing. People have this concept that we're doing. As a man, I don't have a womb, or that women have wombs. But we are not talking about your womb. We're talking about the womb that you came from, and we all have come from a womb, and we have picked up as a soul. When you go into uh, your mother's womb is where you actually start your journey. And yes, I'm going to come. We all choose our lives, actually. We choose our parents, we choose our lives, we choose our the countries that we are born in, the homes that we are born in, based on the lessons that we need to learn that we have not learned in our earlier lifetimes, or like to rectify, or to learn this, or to better ourselves. So we've chosen that, we come into that womb, and then another story starts. You start picking up someone else's beliefs, and then you pick up your mother's beliefs. Like at that point, she might be so unhappy with her body, and you pick that up. Actually, you become that I don't have a good body. Your soul picks that up, but she would give birth to you, and she's all right after that. But you live with that for many years of your lives. That my body is not good enough, or that, oh God, I think I need to do something about my weight, or I need to do something. I mean, this is just a hypothetical example of, I mean, I have people that I dealt with who have that. And then what you think about constantly is what you attract, because we at the end of it are mirroring to life or to the universe, or what we want. So we want something good, but we're mirroring the bad to the universe, and you keep attracting that because you're a mirror. You're attracting that. So the soul has those layers, which those layers need to be peeled for you to understand that your purpose was something else, for what you took birth on this planet for. And you have a lot of ways and means of doing that. I mean, I teach people meditation, and breath work is also something that I think when we can align ourselves, then you don't need a soul alignment coach. If you are doing meditations on a daily basis, you're doing the breath work, which is the best way to actually um, to align yourself, mind, body, soul. So
Nitaji,
there's
Nitaji, in this, भागम भाग की जिंदगी में, the fast-paced
hmm,
world,
hmm.
how can people, ordinary people like us or anybody, can incorporate mindfulness and soul alignment in their daily lives? So you spoke about it, but can you please emphasis on that?
See, so you make time for yourself. I mean, aren't you making time for yourself to eat your meals? Aren't you making time for yourself to go out and meet friends, or to watch TV? Or you making time for yourself. So you need to make time for yourself to do these things also. Uh, there must be some other way also that people can align themselves. Like say for a lot of people, this comes easily to them, and for some people it takes time. And what is all this meditation or breath work, or doing self-care stuff? I mean, self-care is not just painting your nails and doing the hair and, like, buying good clothes and looking good uh, externally. It's about how you're dealing with your inner self. So people who actually remain in silence for few moments of their day, you see that they actually connect to their soul so much faster and easier. And you'll see it on their faces. You'll see that they are more content, or they are like, yes, this is my life. Yes, I know what to do. Yes, I know. Like you will see it in them. Like you will see that they are um, so much aligned. I mean, I'm actually short of words, and I do meet people like that, and I meet people who are like desperate also. Like, I've reached this age and nothing is happening to me, and I have everything, but why am I not happy? And I'm just sitting in my room and crying. So that's because at some point your soul rebels of all the times that you neglected it, and then you nothing matters. I know people, for them, they have it all in their lives, at like everything great going for them. It just doesn't give them happiness. It just doesn't matter anymore. So before the soul pushes you into that, where you have no choice but you have to do that. So it's better that, and as I said, yes, like today's life, where it's so hectic. We are not connected to nature. We can't really just leave everything and go to the Himalayas. Pehle, earlier it would all happen, right? I mean, you could go somewhere and you had more access to nature, or where you could actually sit under a tree and you could connect to yourself.
So you spoke about that what happened in 1,000 years back or used to be 300 years back or 50 years back may not be right now. The definition changes actually. Isn't it what you are saying currently that the idea of alignment of soul changes from time to time?
Um, Alignment of soul doesn't change. The way you do it changes over time.
Okay.
Like say 100, say I don't know when the cave age or the snowman age was. I don't know. Maybe it was like 10,000 years ago. I'm bad with numbers. I don't know if then it. Maybe at that age it did work that you have to do these two stones together to light a fire. Yeah. And they needed to go out, and the men went out to like kill for the food, etc. So if you just keep that in mind and say that, oh, now so this is how I need to do it now also, it it's not going to work. The same as beliefs. What beliefs worked for your ancestors or your lineage or your parents also, for that matter, your parents and their parents for 7 generations, it's not going to work now. So you need to tweak yourself for you to know, and these are all external things, like all the rituals that we do, jo bhi karte hai, it's all rituals. So you they probably they had more time in that caveman age where they could connect to their soul, and so that's how they could invent things. They could do something, and they connected in mind body soul, so they could invent maybe fire, they could invent the matches, they could invent something. But here we are not connected to ourselves. We are only so busy, externally. And yes, we need to drop our beliefs. What worked 100 years or what worked 10 years ago is not working now. Like 50 years or how many years ago, 30 years ago, we had a black and white TV. But you have a flat LED now, right? With like upgraded technology and stuff like that. And why can't we upgrade ourselves? Why do we need to be still stuck there and say, no, 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 this is how it is to be done then, and this is how I'm going to do. So this actually hurts the soul in such a way that you are still stuck somewhere else. So the soul also evolves.
Right.
Everything on this earth evolves, and we are forced to evolve. Whether I mean we are forced to evolve, right? My phone from I think S5, my iPhone, like now I have a 15 or 16. We evolved, right? So if we can evolve externally, why can't we evolve within ourselves? And
That's
we'll manifest
amazing.
better. We will manifest better. Let me tell you that when you're aligned with your soul, and so then you don't need to align or manifest what the neighbors have, or what your friend has, or what your sibling has. Then you will understand the life journey much better when you align
So,
with yourself.
so one is basically soul alignment that you're
Yes.
talking about, and you had really with your uh, immense explanation that you had given us. It's an alignment of your journey. It's an understanding you. Then, how does the external souls also matters? You talked about tribes, and you talked about different kinds of soul connections. So, I just wanted to relate to it. Is soul alignment is restricted to oneself, and or it is also outward, finding out the soul connections and the drive for to live the purpose. And with this, the question that comes over here is, uh, what exactly is soul connection about, and how do you find it? So there are two questions. One is basically about the soul alignment inward, and does it basically require during your soul alignment to have your soul connection? And the next question would be, what exactly soul connection is about?
So the soul connect is every interaction. I mean, we've spoken about that earlier. That every interaction that you have, even the menial of person that you meet with, I mean, now I'm labeling them as menial. Everyone, like even your staff that you have, the maid who comes home, the driver that you have, the security person, your neighbors, everybody is a soul connect. I mean, it doesn't, nothing happens as a coincidence in life. There is something that we need to learn or we need to teach that person. So, and as human beings, we are like communal people, like we need interactions. um, I think those days are gone where you can go sit in the Himalayas and get yourself enlightened or whatever that happens there. Yes, going to the Himalayas help. I mean, when I am at retreats and we go there, and I mean, just looking at those mountains and looking at that nature, you actually feel so much at peace, and that it's easier to connect to your inner self there. Yeah, but that apart, not everyone gets a chance to go there. So the soul tribe helps us in such a way that it actually supports us, because they also are on that quest of how to how to evolve and how to connect to yourself internally. And many of them have walked the path and they have experiences to share, and it helps immensely to actually so that is how, I mean, soul tribe is something that I think we all have started talking in the last few years, right? The soul tribe. So they are the ones that you don't need to be connected to them like hip to hip, or like living with them, or in the same city, but you do have a connect with them. I mean, there's so many times like you just meet somebody and you connect with them, and they might be living thousands of miles away from you, and sometimes you connect, like even if you connect with them on social media at times, and you feel, it's like I think I've known this person, or I think I feel so comfortable with that
So,
person,
Neetaji,
and
that here I want to interrupt you. That's the next question actually comes from here. Is when we talk about, that we hear about twin flame connection, soulmate connection, karmic connection, past life connection. There are a lot of names are given. Kindred
yeah,
connection, soul family, soul group, uh, and there are so many names that I can see now.
soul
Uh,
family and what,
Spiritual
soul
connection,
what? Okay,
soul group,
soul
soul
group.
group.
Okay.
So I can see the list is there regarding the
Yeah.
soul connection. So are
Yeah.
they the same that you are talking about, or they have differentiation between them during the soul journey?
I think these are, I would say, labels that we again as humans have given
Yes.
to connections in life. Yeah, twin flame, twin soul, um, um, soulmates, soul tribe, and so on and so forth. So these are just labels, and each one's definition of what. Yes, if you today, there's so much of social media information that you get, that what are twin souls, that they are two souls that are connected, like they are split into twin flames are two souls that are connected, a same soul split into two, and they each one does this and the other one mirrors it, and maybe it's true. Who knows? I mean, we really can't actually sit in our living rooms and say that no, so and so is wrong or so and so is right. We actually, because it's like a vast universe. Like, I feel only God would know, the divine would only know that is this right or is that wrong, because we are so desirable as human beings to label things and to slot people and to slot relationships, that that without that we can't really express ourselves. I mean, if you just take each one as a soul connect, whether it's a twin flame or it's a twin soul, or it's um, a soulmate. A soulmate is someone, I think we all have accepted that today. And even social media, thank God, has accepted that today, that those are the people who you are connected with, like, who come to teach you a lesson, or you need to learn from them. And a twin flame and twin souls is still, there are theories behind it, so I don't think I would like to even
Right.
expand on that, because though I do feel that there could be something like that in life, because I've had those experiences in life, and you do feel that, oh, you're so aligned with that person, you're so aligned with that person that you feel, I think there is
I
some
mean,
other
very,
connection
very, very.
to it.
You come into a comfort zone with that particular person. You feel
Yes, and
comfortable. You
even
want to
if
talk
you
to him.
just,
Yeah.
yes, him or her, you need to, like, you actually connect, and you can actually read each other's minds, and you can um it's like bliss, and I
So it
feel
is.
that,
It has nothing to do with romanticism or the love and other
yeah, it
thing that
doesn't
we.
have to be, romantic, it's just that you connect so well that you just, maybe, I, I would love to have something like that in my life. you, somebody just reads your. Actually, you can read our minds, because we are telepathically also. It's only
Yes.
humans that we need to speak to each other or to express ourselves with words. But if you see the galactic beings outside, they connect with you telepathically. You don't need to talk to each other. They telepathically connect. When you're channeling, what do? Your channeling is like somebody, some spirit guide somewhere is actually connecting to you through telepathy. So I think that's what happens with a maybe that's what happens with a twin soul or a twin flame, or I think so. And I think that's still being, I'm sure that there are experts in this world which will come out in a couple of years. We'll have something, concrete that speaks about them.
Actually, we are living in multiverses, and now we are
Yes.
talking about metaverse in
Yes.
world in Facebook and Meta part,
Yeah.
and that's a galaxy, the multiverse and metaverse. I think. Anyway,
Yes.
so we can have another discussion. We are in the last leg of the discussion today, and
Yeah.
just 5 minutes more for this podcast.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I want you to address here is uh, there are two questions actually. There were list of questions that I wanted to ask, but since we uh, do not have time, so I would like you
This
to
will be a 10 episode series, I think. We have so
yeah.
many questions.
Right. So the very important thing, because we had a wonderful discussion in the last 50 minutes. What are the signs that might indicate that someone has lost their connection to their soul, and how can they begin to restore it? Number one. Number two is, how can someone deepen their soul connection both with themselves and with the others? And at last, I would like you to, give advice to someone who is feeling stuck or disconnected from their purpose. And if there is any takeaway you want listener to have, so you can, you know, in one go, you can talk about. And at last, if you want to share any success story while in your soul alignment coaching that has transformed someone's life, we would like to hear from you.
um, Well, when we are disconnected from our soul, or some people also, I also call it the higher self. So when you're disconnected, so it's not such a scary word. When you say higher self, it's all right. So when you say soul, like even you mentioned tantra mantra into it, yeah. So when we are connected to our soul, you will sense that you will have a certain kind of bliss in your life, that you would actually, even if you do have ups and downs, because we're living a human life, there are going to be ups and downs, yeah. Even if we claim to be in the fifth dimension, which is for us, like, we've evolved ourselves into fifth dimension and above, but still you're interacting with beings which are very much in the third dimension. So you are going to have that ups and downs, like at times, like a slow moving roller coaster. When not come zoop like this, but there will be a slow moving roller coaster. So when you are not able to handle those ups and downs in life, you're not contented. You really feel that, oh, I think I'm missing out something, or like I'm not happy with everything that I have working in my life, is when you actually start realizing that this is a disconnect. So when you're disconnected from your soul, um, you that's when all these signs come up. You have physical illness. Many a times, physical illness comes when you're actually disconnected from your soul. Also, some people might have that as a soul journey, to be to have that illness. Yeah, so to have that illness would also be a soul journey of that soul. So it helps to go into like go to a coach or a therapy or into a session to know that yes, it could be because of that, and how best to deal with it. Yeah, so like I would say that I know of someone who had lost her child when the child was just 13 years old. And um, I mean, it's a heartbreaking thing for any mother, and she couldn't get over it. And then she had another child, but she still had those kind of feelings with that, like, oh my God, this child will not die or whatever. And she had disconnected herself from that child. I mean, yes, she was a mother. She was like a very good mother, but she had disconnected herself completely from this newborn child, and disconnected as a human being from her. As motherly, she was doing things for her. And then we did couple of sessions with her, and there was so much of baggage in her, like the baggage in her, like of beliefs of a whole lot of things, that it takes time for some people to actually accept that. I think like that child's journey in her was only for 13 years, and she needed that soul came into her life to actually teach her something. But when we don't learn that and we still go externally, I mean, it's tough to even tell someone that, it's that's your lesson in life. um, but having that person actually accept it, that yes, it was my lesson, it was that soul journey, that the soul that came into my life was only meant to be. And what did it teach you? I mean, you have to go in a method, in a very scientific way. What did you learn from there, and what happened? And so it's difficult to actually deal with cases like this. But yes, so acceptance is required. Acceptance is, yes, it happened to me, and what did I learn from it, and how do I move ahead and release it? Like we all feel, we've been told, don't show anger, don't show grief, don't show sadness. No, that actually bottles up within us. You have to accept it. Yes, I'm angry, and why am I angry? Go to the root cause of it and release it. Feel it and release it. Only if you feel it can you release it. If you don't feel it, it stays within you, and then it affects you internally. So I don't know whether I've answered your question. I've forgotten the question. There were three.
Absolutely, everything has been answered. I think we got a very good idea about soul alignment, mindfulness, and you shared about a success story. Definitely, the patient have been cured. They're talking about. So the last thing, one thing that I would like to, before we end this episode about soul journey. So we will put it as soul journey this episode, and
Okay.
next we will talk about the healing modality and mindfulness, other things, right? So this
Yeah.
episode will cover that we have talked about is about the entire soul mantra or the soul journey that you talked about
Yes.
soul alignment. So I think for people who would be hearing this podcast, this is a wonderful learning from Neetaji, and we had a wonderful discussion. And the last thing, again, it's not the least, is what advice would you give to someone feeling stuck? Or you answered it. And if there is one takeaway you want the listeners to have about soul alignment, and what would it be? And with this, I would like you to also, uh, highlight how can journaling, meditation, or other practices complement with soul alignment work.
Uh, I think everything that you spoke of, journaling, meditations, breath work, working on yourself, and when I mean working on yourself, it doesn't mean only on the outward, externally, like doing yoga, or going to the gym, or trying to do, it's not just the external, the internal part also. So it works in such a way that first we need to accept what's happening to us. We can't run away from it. It's like I think life and the universe is a good teacher. Like how much ever the child runs away from, I don't want to study, I don't want to do this, I don't want to give an exam, it eventually brings you back to it. And the faster you come at a younger age, like like you actually accept, like I can't say that you have to come when you're in your teens or when you're in a young adult or whatever. The faster you come to realize that I think I need to change this, um, you'll actually be able to see what your soul has come on this life, on this earth for, to do. I mean, it's probably come to do something greater, and you're missing it because you're so involved in your external life and your issues in life, or so. So the faster you realize, we do that by accepting that yes, something is wrong here, that yes, I'm not actually I'm actually not so happy. I mean, we have this thing about, most of us have this thing that I'm not so happy, so let me watch TV, or let me have a drink, or let me eat this my pani puri, or something else, or let me go shopping, do some retail therapy. But how long are you going to do that? How long would you do that? How much would you clutter your house? At some point you reach a stage where you have to say that yes, I'm not actually content. I mean, of course, happiness is a state of mind, but content from within, you're not content, and you need to accept it. And that's when actually your aligning to your soul starts. And then you start looking um, for people who can help you. You make some mistakes, you might do some modalities which actually don't do much, and then you come to someone who can actually help you with it. So then it is also trial and error. So accepting that yes, something is not right is what will lead you to go to the right person who can help help him or her to to change their life. And I think we all as human beings deserve to be um, happy in life. That's a birthright.
So,
Yes.
Neetaji, we had a wonderful discussion. I was going through the Google right now. I was trying to it kept me of a movie in a Hollywood movie named as Forrest Gump, and it is one of my
Yes.
favorite movies. And there the theme of this movie is also about finding the purpose of the soul. A
Yes.
person keeps on walking from young and it becomes old. I think similarly it is ourself who is running after the purpose of life and purpose of soul. Final I would talk about the final words to the listener about the journey of soul and purpose of soul, and why it is important to find the purpose of soul to live a happy life. Yes, Neetaji.
So it was that a question? I got
Yes.
distracted. Well, what is
Yeah.
it you said? That
So, a final word to the listener
yeah.
about the journey of the soul, the purpose of the soul, and why it is important. to understand the soul purpose and for a happy life?
Um, Having to understand your soul purpose. I mean, your soul has a purpose. Either you complete it in this lifetime, if you've not done it in your earlier lifetimes, or you have to complete it in the next lifetime, or you have to complete it at some point. Yeah. So I feel that the faster we do it, we won't have to take birth on this planet for much longer. Then people keep saying it's what nirvana or whatever it is. I don't know what it is that people say. So at some point, that uh, soul can stop taking births and become one with the light, with the divine, because that is the purpose, right? I mean, the purpose is not to get birth, take birth over and over again to live this life. You know, to eat, drink, go to work, have to party, to meet friends. So the faster we realize what is your soul purpose, and the soul purpose doesn't necessarily have to be something out of this world. Like, I know people who go for PLR and they're dying to say, in your past life you were a queen, or you were a king, or you were Cleopatra. Like, because each one feels that have I I have been that. No, you could be like an ordinary person, but you have would have a strong soul journey, that you would have a um, soul work that you need to do. So the faster we realize that, and we can move on to become one with light, and to go wherever we need to go, uh, to the divine, to never take birth again.
So, thank you, Neetaji, for a wonderful conversation we had regarding the soul journey, regarding this lot of learning that we had today. And it was so nice to have you here in this podcast, episode 2 for Art of Mindfulness by Neeta Karkanis. And today's topic was soul journey. Meet you again with Neetaji in the next episode regarding the how one can actually inculcate soul alignment in their life and methods, practical techniques, different modalities we will talk about in healing. And hope to meet you again. Neetaji, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a this was a really long chat, and I thoroughly enjoyed uh, being on your platform. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye.